Going on, my friends, this is Rick, and you're seated at the table, and let's take a look at cycle number 9 for our would-be colony here, Fairwind. So, what we need to do is make some minor adjustments before we start finding out what may or may not have been going on. So, our current cycle would now be passed on to cycle 9, and we now have a population growth, and our population growth is going to be a 1D3 plus. So let's do it to 1D3 out here and make a flip on that. So we're taking a 1. And so we're going to go 1, so 0.0108, no, 0.108, 0.108 times the existing population of 10,463 and get an equal of an additional, no, that's not right. Come on, get your act together. 0.018 times 10,463. So 188 new people either born or have arrived. 10,463. This brings us up to 10,651. Right? Yes. Yes. And there is a tax factor in there somewhere, so I will factor that in at some point. And we're going to look at our mineral roles for the mining for the planet's mining concern. And we have oxygen, O2, NP, AR, MU, FE, and IR. And we get a D20, basically 2 D10s for each one of these. So added together, 3 and 2 is 5. 5 oxygen and 9 water. 2, no, that would be a 10, so 12. And P, I think argon is AR, that's 4. At the point when I knew what all these periodical acronyms stood for, so 8 for MU. I know FE is iron, so 7 for iron, and IR, I think it's iodine salt, 13, right? All right. So we need to take a look at ship traffic roll. Planet event roll for the planet first. And red is always the 10, or the yellow is always the 10s for me, so we are looking at 85. And first I have it turned over to merchant cargoes. Let's see event rolls, where you at? Yeah, planetary event charts. And we got to determine which one of the 3 charts we're using, so we will make another roll. And a 51 would put us at chart 2. And then we roll again for 71 on chart 2. That's chart 1. And when I originally started out, I only had 1 chart. That would be like 90 events, 80, 90 events, roughly. And then as we play tested, we determined that wasn't going to be enough, which led to a second chart, and then eventually a third one as more ideas came up. And then I discovered that I could further dilute or expand, being how you look at it by quantifying certain events to have multiple possible outcomes. So anyway, chapter 2 is 71. Okay, so 71. Cargo ship arrives with special cargo. With special cargo prepaid by one of my platinums. Platinum 1d10 plus 2 prefabs. So we're going to roll a d10, and we have 3, so 5 prefabs of unknown type yet. Platinum approaches the house seeking permission to establish a new village or town on a planet to be named after them. All right. To start new village to be named after the planet. So this is would make me want to do a separate encounter. We're going to, at this point, I need to actually create stats for my house lord, and a bio sheet for my house lord, and a bio sheet for whichever one of these platinums it would be, and to determine which platinum it is, and then just from there make a discussion. And believe it or not, there are actually, yes, there are rules in here to allow, or rules to allow you to sell land to that your house now your house by default owns it all, and could then sell or lease land to individuals of interest at a nice little profit, not absurd profit, mind you, but it also just set up a tax base in order to generate revenue for it. This would also then set a separate location. So we know we have the capital colony that we've established, which is located on my map at this point. And then I have the haven, which is established, that I have located down here at this point. So I would then add a third location someplace on the planet, and this will become a village that can be filled out and fluffed out and constructed as things go by. There's value to doing things like this. It's just an interesting scenario, something that I'm going to want to have to look into. Okay, so then we're going to go ship traffic number 1, and that's where I originally had my book opened up to, because that's what I had in my head, not the event. So we're going to roll once again on which chart it is. So it is 66, which one of 2 charts makes it a guild traffic roll chart. There's a lot of guild traffic coming through my colony, and I've just opened it up. Makes me think that they've got more stuff going on in the region than I'm aware of. So let's see. That is 18, and 18 is roll on a ship traffic chart. Well, that's what I'm doing. So I guess we'll go and roll on the other chart. And 37, so whatever's going on here potentially is going to be, a cargo cruiser arrives. And this is one of those events where I said that there's multiple events available for this scenario. So a cargo cruiser is a significant vessel. It's probably, based on the hull, might be too large to land on the planet, which means they would operate some shuttles and stuff. Cargo cruiser arrives on a Class 8A hull. So cargo cruiser. What was an 8A? Then it has 5 possible scenarios under his. So we're going to roll yet another D100, and I get an 18. And 18 is a small construction contractor looking to establish herself. Has a construction prefab and a need of workers and their families. Which itself will necessitate some explanation, and I will do a video on that, because I don't want to bog down on this one. It also means the cargo cruiser potentially is here to buy and sell things, which is good. Off camera, before I got to this point, I had stopped and adjusted my exchange for cycle 8, and I added all the things that the few things that I had mined, and I've added it, which increased my revenue a little bit, and increased my surpluses, which generate more revenue, decreased my needs, which reduces revenue. I was able that one guild freighter bought some stuff, sold some stuff, which at the end of the day, when you add in the cost of buying the damaged freighter, the other event, put me further in the hole. But I had total positive for cycle 8 was 194.7 credits versus a negative total of 226.2 credits as at the exchange. And then when I added in, which also included the purchase of the damaged freighter and the trade, which was a negative because I bought more than I sold to the freighter, and which reduced my surplus to 260.4 credits, which means hopefully in another 2 cycles I should start turning a profit, not losing so much. We shall have to go down that rabbit hole in another video at some point. The which is kind of how some of this stuff works anyway. So let's look at our second ship traffic roll. And we're once again, see which chart it's on. And it's on chart 1 since I rolled a 10. And we will do that there. So now it's 99. Okay, 99. Pirate freighter. Class 2 hull, which makes it a cargo carrier and not a light freighter. Roll on the runabout. No, posing as an independent merchant, the captain sells a cargo consisting of 1 special cargo roll and 1 D10 plus 2 components. Much needed material. So we have posing as a freighter, independent captain. So technically, even though we know it's a pirate, the house people don't know it's a pirate unless something's done to do an investigation on that, or something causes an event that wants us to do such a thing. In this way, it includes 1 special cargo roll, which could be anything, and we'll go ahead and roll the D10. So we got 10. Wow. 10 plus 2, so 12 ship components. Now, wouldn't that be ironic that, and of course you have to roll that out and figure out what they are, and then figure out if I can pay for them, possibly negotiate a deal on it. Wouldn't it be ironic that the components turn out to be most of the components needed to repair the damaged freighter that I just dropped 92 credits on? That would be the way some of this stuff would pan out. I mean, it is what it is. Okay, so got the events done for the cycle. Let me put this off to the side just a hair, and I'm going to go ahead and tuck this back into its cover sheath thingamabob to keep it it's right in a good spot, because now I'm looking at ship traffic movement. Now, in this case, I managed to restock both my scouts and my mining ships and my shuttle. I'm inclined to leave my shuttle here for a minute and not fiddle with it. So we are going to look at go to my loaned sloop that's loaned by a platinum, and it still has a sufficient amount of fuel and supplies on board to not need to return. That is going to reduce pretty soon, because I only got about 2 jumps worth of fuel left, and I have 5 cycles worth of consumables on board, which is fine. In a previous turn, in cycle 8, we had jumped into an adjacent system that was uninhabited, and turned out to be nothing of value there, which is not necessarily a bad thing. So we are going to do another jump to a yet neighboring system, get that out, and we're going to go ahead and just jump. We'll just jump catty-corner across over here, and we're going to go all the way back to the back of the charts, or the front of the book, and we're looking for, now it's planetary exploration, all the way to the front, and not that far. Got a titles and credit page that has just blank because I never got around to putting anything in there because I got screwed on that contract with frickin' that a-hole game company. It turned out to be a bogus game company. Okay, so we are going to explore into a system that has never, or into a system that we've never done before. So we're going to roll exploring new space. And pray we don't run into a damn hazard. So we have 2 charts to roll from, and we're going to go and say 31, which puts us on chart 1, and we'll go roll 25. 25 is nothing. Let's see if I'm doing this right, because I got a feeling I'm not doing something right. That's what it'd be, nothing when I roll in a system, so no immediate event. Is that? Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Okay, I've got that backwards anyway, so we'll leave that as no event when I get in that system. But I need to roll D100 and pray I don't run into a hazard. 13. Oh, once again, nothing, empty space. So we are now into nothing. Yet another empty space, another light year adjacent to the system that my capital sits in, but there's nothing in it, which I'm like I said, I'm not saddened by that. I kind of would like to run into some planets, something, because I do want to find sources for my mining ships to mine. I don't really want to lose the sloop in the process, but you know what, we're going to keep this out for a second, because I have 2. And this is now in system, what is that? It would be 06 and 15. And so we have, right, several mining, or several scouts, and I'm going to deploy one of my scouts and take a risk, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to jump to, not to this system, of course, but I'm going to jump to an adjacent light year, and we're going to try and do this one here. And I hope I wreck my ship and worse. So a 2. Ugh. Oh, that's crap. I have just encountered a neutron star or a pulsar, which is really not going to be a fun thing. Pulsar, which technically speaking, scientifically speaking, this close to my home system is not necessarily a good thing either. This also constitutes a hazard, which also, so I need to determine the percentage of the hazard, which is a D100, and it's a 50% hazard. So I have a 50% chance of actually having a problem and running the ship having been destroyed and or worse. And I'm going to save that for a separate video because that's going to involve me to do just a little bit more stuff to it. And so we're going to go my notes to keep track of everything, so I can keep track of all my stuff. Let's see, Scout, Kamari, encountered Pulsar. We'll have to roll out the hazard. There's some modifications, some things, some rules, etc., and to determine whether or not the scout suffers damage or is outright destroyed, which would suck. If it's too damaged, then I have to decide: do I risk another vessel to go try to salvage it and or to rescue the crew, and risk destroying yet or damaging yet another craft? It's a slippery slope. We have to be cautious. It's one of those damned if you do, damned if you don't scenarios. And I think we're going to do an all-in. We're just going to do an all-in. All right. I'm going to go ahead and send the Jan Kuro out and hit yet another star system nearby. So we're just going to poke that one here, and we are going to go, since we're on a roll, let's just go and do this one here and see what happens. So you can see where I'm slowly filling in the map. So what this is going to create is a travel hazard. So I'm going to, in future jumps, I will have to route around it to get to other parts out here, which could cost movement points. And obviously not wanting to fly through that on purpose is a major thing. This is how we chart space. That's the hazard of charting space. So 93 and 93 is a hay. It is a Class B9-2 sun, but the system is 100% empty save for the sun. Great. So a lot of nothing. We have a star here, and it's a B9. What is that? B9-2 empty space. Oh, so that means it's a solar system. There's a sun there. I can build a space station there, or somebody could set one up there, but there's no stellar bodies there to make any kind of exploit or to find any advantages with, which means blah. All right, so number 2, it's empty space. All right, great. Now, you'll note, you have to be kind of desperate to risk your mining vessels. They're much harder and much more expensive to replace, and they are a crucial addition to our ability to get our exchange up and running and to make profit off of it. And so I don't want to, okay, I'm losing my marble. Whatever, put that in there. I can find it when I need it. And then those 2 off to the side. So technically, I don't want to waste these mining ships by throwing them anywhere that I can't exploit. And so we're going to send one of them to the moon and go ahead and mine there, and we know it's a safe place to jump to, so we don't really have to make any rolls. There is a roll for arriving or moving, but we're moving within the system, so it's not necessary. It does consume 1 ton of supplies and 3 tons of fuel. So these things are gas hogs. These Hull 1 mining ships, they really are. I mean, it's just the downsides to them. And there's only 3 mineable sources here, but I have a use for all of it. And the more I can mine, the better. The downside, of course, is the freighter can only mine 1D per item per turn. So we'll do an 8. And a 9. And a 10. That's a pretty good haul. Total, my cargo capacity for my freighter is 100 tons. So I can, it depends on which it's a race. Can I fill the hold before I run out of supplies, or vice versa? The higher the rolls, the better. At some point, I'm going to get down to 1 point of supply. I want to jump back to the plant, to the capital, so it can be replenished and taken care of. So there's that. Of course, the moon itself is still only 25% explored. There's still 75% of it that I have no idea about, and there's nothing I really can do about it. The other planet I have in my system, of course, is this swamp planet that has an industrial age civilization on it, almost on par with 1950s Earth, which is a problem in more ways than I want to acknowledge. And that gilt freighter there would have left by now. So we're going to do the Iron Hunter, And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to jump it over to that swamp planet. And what I want to do is I want to find out exactly what is there for mineral resources. Now, mining this planet is a problem because doing so would be the equivalent of aliens coming down to Earth and messing with the locals in the 1950s. And so technically, there's possibilities of encounters and hostile encounters at that by mining. This is not done, the ship actually has to land on the surface for the mining gear to do its business. And so there's some ups and downs to doing that. Let's see, we don't need this section. We do need mineral resources. Where are you at? Mineral resources chart. And we know that the planet has an oxygen atmosphere because it's breathable. All right. Planet. MR. So we know we have oxygen, and that'll be my first. And we also know there's water, and we don't know in what ratio. And so since it's a planet, potentially there are 10 mineral resources available. This does not include oxygen and water if the planet already contains it. If you roll those as extra, then somehow that's an extra rich environment in that respect. So we will roll on a single dice, and we have 5 items in addition to oxygen and water. So I will then roll 5 times, and my first is 76, which is rudium. So RB, and number 4, let's see, 39 is lead, which is PB. Our third roll is 61, and I know I'm doing that backwards. Organics. And so organics are literally that organic materials that you can mine, and you just have to figure that out. I just consider that we're literally, I don't know, sucking up the plants and animals, or the plants and animals and whatever, and processing them as an organic substance, which then we use as building blocks for other things. So 12, boron, or B. Let's see, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. We need one more, plus we got water. And 38. And since it's a swamp world, I'll put water at the very ass end anyway. So this is lanthanum, or lathanum, Lanthanum, or La. And of course, oxygen, or water, O2. So I need to change my stats on the ship to show that I've consumed stuff. Now 7 and 13. This basically allows me to decide if I want to attempt to mine the surface or not. Then there's an event in here that we would run to do to see if there's any encounter with the natives, and if we're willing to risk that or not, I don't know. I think I will once again look at that as a possible additional event to do probably next weekend. And that's the conclusion for this cycle at this moment. Till next time, you guys have a great weekend.